I'm leaning. You know what else leans? Tower of Pisa. What does the Tower of Pisa have anything to do with what we're talking about here today? Well, because this wine is like made near Pisa, but the bottle's not. But still wanted to bring the point home. Pisa, Tuscany, Western Tuscany, getting close to the Tuscan coast, but not the Tuscan coast where like Sassicaia and Ornellaia is. This is a little different Tuscan coast. We're a bit more north. It's a hair cooler. It's a place where certain grape varieties thrive. Cabernet Sauvignon loves it here. Cabernet Franc loves it here. And Sangiovese still loves it here. Sangiovese is super popular in this neck of the woods. The Terre di Pisa. And this is where Tenuta di Ghizzano is set up. And I have my trusty phone with me because the name, the family that owns it is like, like really long. Ginevra Venerosi Pesciolini is continuing to work that her father, the Count Pier Francesco Venerosi Pesciolini, had already begun. Do you understand why I needed the phone now? It's not that I love Italian people, but those are some serious names right there. Anyway, we started working with Tenuta di Ghizzano back in the early 90s. The 93 vintage was the first vintage of Veneroso that we sold here in America. So we're, us old heads, OGs, we were already working with this wine before, and we have a great history with it. And she's done fabulous work over the years, just maintaining this property, this family property that I think has been in the family since the 800s. Like when wolves were eating people and stuff. Like that's how long they've owned this property. So this is the Veneroso from Tenuta di Ghizzano. This is 70% Sangiovese, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon. And frankly, it's one of the greatest deals on what we would call a super Tuscan red wine on the planet. We shouldn't call them super Tuscans anymore, right? They're IGT Toscanas, right? That's the new technical name that the Italians want for the wines. And they confuse things more by indicating, oh, this isn't IGT Toscana, this is Terre di Pisa. If you want to call it Super Tuscan, cool. But in fact, this is just a beautiful, brilliant Tuscan red wine from one of the greats. And here's the key, 2018. This is a vintage that you have to be careful with, but the right wines in 2018 are so soulful, so warm fuzzy, so elegant. The tannins are so fine that I find myself gravitating towards this vintage a lot, and not because it's better than 16, because it's not. 16's a better year, 10's a better year, but the style of wine, when these wines are on, is something else. The fineness, not finesse, but the fineness of these wines is something else. Like, you know when something works, right? Like when the band is in the pocket, right? The top 18s are like that. The top 18s are like in the pocket. Here the Sangiovese and the Cabernet are really talking to each other, complimenting each other, listening to each other, which is desperately important when you're combining these grape varieties and making this happen. This is a wine of extreme balance, symmetry, precision. Ghizzano in his tasting note remarked that this was a classy wine, and indeed, it is a classy wine from Tuscany. Absolutely remarkable wine for the money, and I think, I'm trying to remember, I think Ghizzano gave it 96, don't quote me, but it's a big score, and the score is part of our feature today for the piece. But beyond that, everything these guys have done since the early 90s has been classy. Their 93 Veneroso was a classy wine, and this special terroir near the Leaning Tower, other way, of Pisa is really, really something else. For the money, it's really hard to beat from a super Tuscan standpoint in the marketplace today. Not to mention, Texas out using even the super cool DM corks. Not to mention, this is a DM 30. That is a fancy ass cork right there, that DM 30. No TCA, no cork taint. Every bottle you open is going to be pure as the driven snow over the next 20 years. One of the most remarkable values in classy super Tuscan wine today. Congratulations, the 2018 Veneroso is a masterpiece.